Well, firstly, Matt, I'd just like to say that Sebastian Vettel, without question, is a fantastic driver, and when he's on form, he is very difficult to beat. And he's won 3 championships for a reason, and he's deserved those 3 world championships. However, what he did on Sunday at the Malaysian Grand Prix was, for me personally, unacceptable. When you have been told to maintain the gap, when you've been told to stay behind your teammate, that's what he should have done, but he didn't. And when he got past Mark Webber, his teammate, on pit straight during the race, I'm sure at the back of Christian Horner and Adrian Newey's mind, they will have been thinking about the Turkish Grand Prix in 2010 when both teammates came together, and that could so easily have happened at Sepang, but it didn't in the end. But for Sebastian, he needs to look at himself, and he needs to sit down with the Red Bull team hierarchy. He needs to sort it out with Mark Webber, because if the relationship between Sebastian and the team personnel and with Mark, if it does go downhill from now, that's not going to be good for team personnel and for team morale as well. So he needs to sit down with the likes of Christian Horner and Adrian Newey just to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But Sebastian, even if he finished second, he would have found himself in the Drivers' Championship anyway. So I don't see, why, there was that need to get past Mark Webber. Early on in the season as well, there will be opportunities for Sebastian to win, other races, and he will win races this season. And there will be weekends where he will dominate. So I don't understand why Sebastian had to make that move, when really he could have stayed behind his teammate and he would have still found himself in the Drivers' Championship. It's a great question, Christian, but at the end of the day, Christian's team is important as well, and I think you need to remember that. And obviously, Sebastian, he was told, and that's the thing that frustrates me. He was told that he should stay behind his teammate and maintain the gap, but he ignored it, and and rightly, I think it was Christian Horner that came onto the radio, Sebastian's radio, saying that was silly, and rightly so. I can understand Sebastian wanting to win races. That is totally understandable, but at the end of the day, he will get other opportunities this season to win races. We know that Red Bull car is strong, and I still can't understand why Sebastian had to make that move. So I think I could understand why, Christian, you've said that it's immoral to stop the current 3-time world champion to make that overtake and to stop him from winning. But the team, their interest, and for the team as well, it's more important. I mean, had Sebastian and Mark collided, then it could have been a weekend where Red Bull dominated the weekend, and yet, or dominated the race anyway, and they would have ended up with no points. So Red Bull should be thankful. Well, Sebastian anyway should be lucky and grateful that the team came away with maximum points from the race. I think he will leave at the end of the season. I really do, and I do feel sorry for Mark, because Sunday was a race that he thoroughly deserved to win. I thought he got a fantastic start, managed to get past both Ferraris, and he drove the perfect race up until Sebastian got past him. So I do feel sorry for Mark, but I'm hoping for him. I hope this acts as what happened on Sunday, I really hope this makes Mark even more determined to want to beat Sebastian, and I would love Mark to see win some races this season. I really do, and like I said, I feel really sorry for Mark as to what happened on Sunday, and he deserved better. He deserved to win that race. He did everything right, and then for him to lose that race, with his teammate having done what he did, I just felt really sorry for Mark. So for Mark Webber, I think he will leave at the end of the season, but where he goes, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. It hasn't exactly been the best of starts to the season for Williams, but I'm sure they will be able to turn it around. Going into the new season, everyone at Williams was really optimistic, and there's even talk about Williams even finishing in the points and giving the likes of Mercedes, Lotus, getting close to them. But that hasn't been the case so far this season. But Pastor Maldonado and Valtteri Bottas, in those drivers, I certainly think Williams will. Certainly think they'll step up, and I think they'll certainly be in amongst the points soon. So I don't think they should be too alarmed at the moment, but I think they should be concerned with the way things are going. But like I said, I do believe Williams will turn it around, and I'd also like to congratulate Claire Williams on now becoming the deputy team principal at Williams. I think it's great to see women getting into the top end of Formula One, getting top roles now in Formula One. Take for example Claire Williams now, who's just become deputy team principal at the team, and also Manisha Kaltenborn, now team principal at Sauber. The more women we see in Formula One, the better, and I think it can only be great for the sport. I would certainly like to see Heikki Kovalainen back in Formula One, and I certainly think I still stand by the case. I still stand by my decision that Caterham, getting rid of Heikki Kovalainen at the end of last season was the wrong decision. And I think the inexperience of Guido van der Garde and Charles Peake at Caterham this season, I think the inexperience is telling. And Marussia seems to have taken a step forward, and they are getting that. I tell you what, Marussia are getting really close to that midfield now, and I can certainly see that if the way things are carrying on, Marussia, it's more likely they will break into Q2 more regularly rather than Caterham, and I believe that inexperience is starting to tell now. But we'll see where Caterham end up after the first European race, because I know they've got a major upgrade planned for that race at the Spanish Grand Prix. So let's just see where Caterham are there. But as for Heikki Kovalainen, I think that it would be wise for Caterham to take him on again. I think Heikki, did a great job at Caterham when he was there, and I would love to see him back in Formula One. I think he'd do a good job with Caterham this year if he was taken on again, and I can certainly see him pushing the team forward and even challenging for Q2 in qualifying on a regular basis. So I'd love to see Heikki Kovalainen taken on by Caterham again, and I think that the inexperience is starting to show with Van der Garde and Charles Peake as the team's two drivers. So who's going to win the F1 Drivers' Championship? That's a big question, Daniel, especially after two races. Look, there's still a long way to go this season, and absolutely anything can happen. Interesting, you mentioned that you're thinking of putting money on Felipe Massa. Massa, hasn't won a race for so long, but what I will say is that Felipe's, he's certainly built on his strong second half to last season. It's been a decent start to this year for Felipe Massa. I'm sure at Malaysia, he would have liked to convert his second place in qualifying into a podium finish, but it wasn't to be. But again, like Mark Webber, I'd love to see Felipe Massa win some races this year. It's good to see that he's been able to out-qualify Fernando Alonso this year, and I'd love to see Felipe win some races. Whether he can actually be in contention for the Drivers' Championship, I'm not sure, if I'm being honest with you. If I was you, Daniel, I'd put money on either three drivers I'm about to come up with. I think Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen or Fernando Alonso. I think you'd be wise to put money on either one of those three. I can't really give a definitive answer at this moment because it's too early in the season, and we haven't, only two races have been completed. So if you're asking that question, at the halfway stage of the season, Daniel, maybe then I might be able to give you a definitive answer. So at the moment, I can't really say as to who will win the Drivers' Championship, but what I will say is I think you'd be wise to put money on either Sebastian Vettel Fernando Alonso or Kimi Raikkonen to be crowned world champion this year? I had some fantastic questions sent in this week, so do keep them coming, and you can send them to @baggies20 on Twitter, and I look forward to reading them. But for now, cheerio.